Hello, this is Ben Stark, director and co-writer of Dead Saturday. We're here to do a commentary about Dead Saturday. I am joined by Jeremy Burgess
What's up?
and Kurt Krause.
Hello.
Kurt is our lead actor. He plays Jimmy in the film, and Jeremy is our co-writer and producer.
Yep.
What we're going to do is play the film here in a second. If you're watching this on YouTube or another streaming platform where we have everything kind of packaged together, you don't need to do anything. The movie will start shortly. If you're watching this on your TV via Amazon or something else, then I'm going to count us down in a second, and we're going to play the movie from 0. All right, let's go. So, clicking play in 3, 2, 1, click. So the first credit we see is Rough Riders, and it's followed by Wonder Mill. Rough Riders is Jeremy's company, and Wonder Mill is the company that I do work out of. And then the first shot of the film, there's a little bit of relevance to this Bible verse, and the first thing I've wanted to say is that teardrop you see, the reason that landed perfectly was because of our hair and makeup person, LuAnne Hardee, who just totally nailed that.
It's a big old gloopy teardrop, like anime crying.
It is. It's the big screen. We got to make it special.
She did a lot of crying in this movie, man.
Yes, Caroline cried a lot, and she did it well.
I'm gonna go look for the wine.
Here's James Boykin.
Hey.
I think this was his first film, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah. So Kurt, how many projects have you done kind of in the South?
I did almost 25 total projects. I mean, nothing was quite like this, but
Oh,
I worked a lot down there. It's very busy.
Thank you.
Kurt's an Alabama native too. We got to mention that.
Yes, yeah. All of these actors are fairly regional, except of course our pastor Malcolm, who was born in Erich Roberts was born in Georgia, but obviously is more globally known. The location here is not a real church in that sense. This is actually a chapel on the grounds of a kind of a retreat destination location in North Alabama.
Tommy's Lazy G.
Tommy's Lazy G, awesome people, super nice, and we jumped a lot of hurdles in terms of ticking people off in the congregation by shooting in a mock church, if you will. And it's a credit to our production designer, Elissa Bedwell, who made this place up to really look like a little old country church.
For real. Yeah, and it's in Union Grove. We should mention that in North Alabama.
Tell him what's going on, James.
I did the math. Crucifixion.
So this is a long take that thankfully our actors were very generous with their time, and we mapped all this out the night before we shot it. Do you remember that, Kurt?
Yeah, I do. It was great.
How many takes did y'all do on this one?
Just one.
Yeah, that's right. This is the first take.
Damn it, Kurt.
So we rehearsed a lot, and then we ended up shooting probably 7 or 8, maybe 10 takes. And I think this is take 3, if I remember correctly.
I love the way this moves.
Thank you. Yeah, a big credit to our cinematographer, Michael Williams, who's also a filmmaker and has a few feature films to his credit as a director.
Yeah.
Michael is the most talented man on planet Earth, and we all despise him for it.
And genuinely just the nicest guy, though, too.
He is the nicest guy, which is one of the great reasons to hate his guts. Erich Roberts was cast thanks to Ayoka Billions, who's part of Hollywood Huntsville here in Huntsville. She wrangled a lot of surprisingly big names for us, and she also helped us cast Kurt and Caroline and James.
So this explosion shot is where Erich Roberts actually rolled his ankle, right?
He did, and I used the take of it, and I felt bad. He was a trooper, though. He stood on that ankle the rest of the day after, kind of twirling around and twisting it.
I think the shot of James dropping that wine bottle is my favorite in the movie.
It's a fun one for sure. I love the way that Michael lit that pool of light coming in from the outside, which if that was exposed, you would just be seeing like our cars sitting out there.
Yeah, it's so ominous too. It's like that could be anything out there.
We all do. Son, you're not alone.
Erich Abbott is responsible for the line that got the most consistent laughs. We were surprised at some of the screenings we would go to. Erich would say, "I torched a car, you should have seen it," and people would laugh. He just naturally has a charisma where you're like, that guy does something that I'm interested in.
Yeah, he's really interesting to watch, right? When he's on screen, like you just kind of gravitate towards his energy.
So Kurt, tell me a little bit about the gunplay and how how many guns had you used on camera before this?
I had never shot a gun before this, to be honest with you. So this is my first time even handling a gun. And you don't realize how dangerous it really is, because just because you're using a real gun with blanks, but you can still very much hurt somebody. So it was kind of scary.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely, it was really intimidating to have on set, but thankfully we had Jonathan Zeck was our armorer, and he did a fantastic job of making sure that we were all educated and comfortable. It was just a relief to have him around. Putting all of that together, that whole bit of gunplay and the twirling around camera stuff was difficult. Because on that shot there where you're aiming the gun down, we were dollying almost right into the path of your fire. So the gun was going off like right by my ear and right by Michael's ear, and that was loud. It was really loud.
We're gonna hurt him, man. This doesn't change anything.
So the score for the film was done by a Muscle Shoals band called The Bear, and they were a group that immediately I think came to mind, Jeremy, when we were talking about the music for this.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we wanted to use someone from Bama and someone a little folksy, a little, sounds like the region that they're from.
Yes, and I think they did a fantastic job.
Yeah. And Louisa using her voice for the score, I think, is it honestly reminds me of the Swiss Army Man score a little bit, where they use their voices as instruments, essentially. So we're a little bit ahead of the time. Shiner, maybe give us a little credit there.
Please.
That's my favorite shot.
Yeah, that end shot took forever to get. That was I think we wrapped that at like 11 o'clock at night or something like that.
Yeah.
But that was a shot that from basically when we were writing the script, I thought, okay, I know what the final shot of the movie is.
I was gonna say that was a big thing that you brought to the script, because I always write like in terms of story, and you were like thinking of what it's gonna look like, and so you said, how about we end with this? And I'm like, wow, okay. I never thought of that.
Yeah, well, it was one of those things where thankfully we had a schedule where I could be pretty particular and pretty specific about what every shot meant and what every shot was doing for us, which, again, the actors were very generous with their time, making sure we could get that.
Oh, for sure. And we shot this over 4 days. I don't know if you mentioned that.
Yeah, so it was 4 days.
We had Eric Roberts for 2 of them.
That's right. He was there for the middle 2 days, and Kurt, you were there for all 4 days.
That's correct. I was there the whole time. Wish I could have stayed longer. It was a really cool place.
It was fun. I remember when I pulled into the set for the first time after you had gotten into town. I think it was you and James were like walking down like this, like you had been there for a little bit, and you were walking down the road, and you guys had just been like digging around in a cave somewhere or something like that.
So they had a cave behind their house, so we went spelunking for like an hour. Just went in this cave, like exploring.
I was like, man, I'm gonna love working with this guy.
Team building.
I like his instincts.
Look, when we pulled up, they had a big old snake actually that they had just like caught. So I pulled up to this place we're shooting, and first thing I see is this big old snake that they've caught, and they're like, hey, look, we got a snake.
Did Repo the dog catch the snake?
I don't think it was the dog. He was, I think, scared of the snake.
We should have had you handle the snake in the scene.
Yeah, why did we not put snakes in this film, man? It's the South.
That's sequel.
It's in my contract now. All movies I do must have snakes.
Must love snakes.
Kurt should have spoken tongues. I mean, come on, man. We missed out a lot of stuff here.
We should probably mention the credits were elongated by all of our Seed and Spark donors, who that was one thing that was just fantastic to have.
Oh, yes.
Such a huge group of people that were supportive of the movie and contributed, obviously, but also were enthusiastic about it. And then, of course, Emily Best and Erica Anderson also helped out a lot with Seed and Spark.
Yeah, we literally, people say this a lot, but we literally couldn't have made the movie without that. That was about half our budget that we raised on Seed and Spark. It's great, man. There's a lot. I want to give a shout out to Kurt because Kurt gives like a feature film worth of exposition in this little 6-minute short. Like he does a great job of fleshing out this concept that Ben, we've kicked around as potentially a feature idea, but we condensed it down. And I think Kurt does a lot of the heavy lifting as far as making it work, making it not only fly by, but kind of connect as it's doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also Caroline does a lot of heavy lifting just to give us a perspective on the whole thing. If the whole thing was told from Jimmy's perspective, I feel like we may feel a little bit alienated, but I think that she did such a good job kind of bringing a human set of eyes where this whole thing is happening through her. So we're really lucky to have the cast that we had.
For the auditions we held in Huntsville, Kurt drove up from Baton Rouge that same day for a short film audition. And so I was like, okay, this guy's committed. I think he's going to do it.
That was a 9-hour drive. What was great is I actually, so I don't know if y'all know this, Caroline was in the waiting room, and, it's nice to try to find some sort of connection with people before you have to read with them. And so we actually struck up a conversation and ran the scene and kind of got to know each other before we went in, which makes it so much more comfortable in the room. And
yeah, you guys auditioned together, I think, right?
Yeah, it just happened that we ended up reading together, so it was really easy because we had been outside kind of getting to know each other and building that kind of, rapport.
I remember you guys interacting in such a way that I was like, the words on the page are better than I thought they were, because of the immediate chemistry and life that you brought to it. That I was, it's one of those things where you're like, it's just words until you see a set of really good actors played out. And it's rare to see it as early as the audition process. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching the movie. And I guess we'll talk to you next time.
Next time.
And watch Ben's latest short, Rocket City Shakedown, also on Amazon Prime.
Right, and watch everything that Kurt is in, including Hidden Figures and Free State of Jones.
Maybe you've heard of Hidden Figures, little Oscar-nominated movie.
You guys.